And I'm going to start it again. I'm getting good at this recording stuff. I'm getting better at it. So, Annika, tell me what time it is there. You're in Sweden.
Yeah, I'm in Sweden.
You're in Sweden.
Yes.
And what time is it there?
Right now it's 9:30 p.m.
9:30. I'm ready to go to bed, Tony.
Yeah, I had a full day of work at the health center, so it's the end of my day.
Okay, so I'm not going to keep you any longer. I'm going to mute myself and go ahead and take it away and teach us what you know.
Okay, thank you. As we said, my name is Annika Sorensen and I come from Sweden. I'm a family doctor, and what am I doing in a program like this? Because I'm not in the book market thing. I'm going to tell you in just a minute. I'll just tell you who I am first so you know where I come from. I met thousands and thousands of patients during my years with stress and stress-related disease, and at the healthcare center. And I also been working with assessments in a team where we look at working capacity on people on long-term sick leave. So I've seen stress from all angles. And I also have had my own shares of devastating private tragedies, like most of us have, one way or the other. And so I've seen stress from all places. And 10 years ago, when I was working and I had on the outside a very good life, I had 3 lovely kids. I had a husband who is doing his part of all the family work too, and we were working. I was working full time in my doctor's job, and it looked on the outside that it was really the perfect situation. But I was heading for depression, so I had to do something. So I started to study and take courses on stress management to help myself. I didn't think of my patients in that. At that moment, I was thinking of surviving myself because it was really a really tough time. And all of a sudden, I realized this is what I should do. This is what I could do. This is what I want to do. Because all of a sudden, I saw I could help people, not just prescribing and all that kind of stuff. I saw I could take all that knowledge that I have learned for myself and combine it with my medical knowledge and all the things that I've learned from all my patients and start working in my business. So I started my company, Ask Dr. Annika, and I especially work with lady leaders who is a very vulnerable group. I think someone is having their microphone on. Could you please turn it off? Cindy? Okay. Anyway, this is where my books come in. And like I said, I'm not in the market where you help other people writing books, but I have written 2 books, actually, these 2, and I'm gonna, I thought I'd share my experiences from doing it. It's 2 different ways, and I want to share my screen. I hope this will work. There we go. Do you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, good. So this is what I work with. I work with horror movies. This is what I wanted to write about. My first book, or rather, I have 2 books, and my subject is stress, and I want to share my experience. And I don't have a structure in the way that the previous speakers have had, because this is not my real subject. I'm just sharing what I know. So I think that maybe you who are going to write a book, you can benefit from some of the pitfalls that I've been going into, and you don't have to do them. And also the people who are working with making books, they can learn from what a client can do. And my reason for writing these books has not been to be rich from the books, but I wanted to have them as an exclusive business card when I am out speaking, and also to sell when I speak, of course, and also it could pay me a little bit of the money that I put on travel costs when I was out speaking, if it was for free. And also I also sold like copies for all the listeners on paid speakings. So different ways, but I have never really worked with my books to sell them on the big global markets, even though they are on Amazon, and I will come to that. And my first book, let's see if I can, yes, this is my first book, Take Stress from Chaos to Calm. It's a workbook to help people to go from being stressed out, overwhelmed, burnt out, to come back and be the good leader that they want to be, since I work mostly with leaders. And if we go back to Catherine's secret number 1, she said, don't jump on anything, just take it calm in the beginning and look at what you want. And I kind of didn't do that. For this book, I was at an event and I bought a full package. It was a help to structure and to write, to the layout, the editing, images, printing, and setting up on Amazon. It was totally a full package and a lot of money. But the year that came after that was such a disaster. Their organization failed totally, and in so many ways. And I'm not going to mention the company because they are not in business anymore. And also on top of that, my mother fell very ill and she died eventually in that period. So it was a very, very stressful time for me to write this book. And it was supposed to be a nice walk, but it wasn't a nice walk. And they said it would take like 3-4 months to go from where we started till I had the book in my hand, and it took more than a year until we parted. And maybe it was foolish of me to believe that it was going to go this fast and all that, but I had a lot of the text already written when we started the project. Anyway, the good they did was to give me an initial structure for the book. So that's one thing. It was not personalized, but it was a good structure to start with. And I made my own from that. And then it is a so-called self-help book, this book. So it needs a good structure and a clear structure. And it was gold worth to have that set up before I started to write, because with a structure, it was much easier to write the book. And also, apart from the structure of the general structure of the book, we also decided that in this work part, it was going to follow a person through that person's work. And that was also a very good tip, to have someone that you come back to in each chapter to see the progress of the work that the person did on the stress work. And of course, that structure is not carved in stone, because you can change it along the road. But it's very good to have something to hold on to in the beginning, and then it will be easier to go away from it when you see that you need to. The second goal that I got from this company and in this was the suggestion to have worksheets in the end of the book. I think I put that here. This is, I don't think you can see the text, but it's the chapters, and then you can see the appendixes. And there was worksheets in the end of the book. So in the chapter I said, go see the appendix, and then you have the worksheets. And we also set up a specific website with those appendix worksheets in PDF. So the reader could go to that specific website and print the PDFs. And that was very much appreciated, has been very, a lot of people have told me that that has been a very good thing, because you can print as many papers as you want. And in the end, when the book was ready to launch in January 2014, they moved my book to Motivational Press publisher, where it's still hosted. And it's set up on Amazon by them. So practically, Motivational Press has full control of my Amazon page. I cannot go in and do anything on this page. I'll come back to it later, but this is one if I want to change something, I have to go through them, because they, so to speak, own it. And also they take most of the money. That's part of their deal. And of course, I have set up that I have the book on my website too, but the link to buy it goes to this Amazon page. And to say the good for them, they paid back most of the money in the end, because it was a disaster from that. And that was my first experience with writing a book, and I was not very happy in the end. Anyway, 2 years later, I talked to a friend who is also a publisher, who has a publishing company. And when she heard about the material and stuff that I have, she came up with the idea that I could make a book, a different kind of book. You see, I had an email series, and here is one of those emails. I had an email series that I sent to my clients and to people who came to me or to my list. And I had quite a few of them. And also, so I sent a tip each week to these people and a call to action in the end. And, you know, some of them, of course, to buy the first book. And I also had a series of cards like this that I had made with motivational phrases on that I had I made them myself. And she encouraged me to make 52 of each of these, 52 texts and 52 cards. And then we matched them so that they would fit in pairs. And then we optimized the text and included a really good call to action in the end of each text. And we put that together to a book with 52 tips. And then we topped it with you have the date, and you have place for your own reflection, so you can make it into a workbook. And so this is more a book for reflection, and since it's one tip for each week of the year, it has been more popular as a gift books for people to give to someone else. And when I finished the material, I decided to self-publish this one with a little bit of help from my friend. And so I set up an author profile on Amazon. I applied for ISBN numbers in Sweden, and I got them. And I called it Dr. Annika Publishing. And I set my book up in CreateSpace, where they are printed on demand, and I get the near part of the profit in the end from this book when it sells. And I set it up in Kindle too, but I'm not very satisfied with the Kindle, because it doesn't look like it does on the screen now. It kind of jumps around. I don't really like the Kindle thing for this kind of book. We haven't figured out how to change it, though. I actually don't know if it's possible. And I also have an account in Lightning Source, where you can print on demand a lot of books, because that was set up in this first messy period when they made an account for me, so I used that. And so I set my book up there, so it's good to use when I speak and they want a lot of copies, because then we order the books for the group and they send it directly to the person where I'm speaking, so I don't have to carry the books around. And that is a better way, I think, for if you want a lot of books, then CreateSpace, but it's definitely not necessary. It's more costly, and of course you're more work if you set it up on 2 places. And I don't know if I have, this is what it looks like, my De-Stress Diary 52 tips. And here I put it up on my Amazon too, of course. And then I did make an author page on Amazon, and I was allowed to say that I was the owner of the Take Stress from Chaos to Calm too. So it's on my author page, but they have they own it, the Motivational Press, and the other one I own. And I hope this has given some thoughts for you on the good things and the bad things with doing stuff yourself that you don't really know anything about. And I'm happy with my books, but I haven't really used them in that big way that I could have. And also, I cannot give you any offer that has anything to do with with book writing in that sense. But I want to give you as a gift from me today, what do you call a mini ebook, or it's just a few pages with de-stress tips on how to start getting out of your stress. And it is on the stresslesstoday.com, where you can go get it for free. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And if you have questions later on, you can come back to me for that too, of course. Now we're going to see if I can find the stop share. So if I just take the things that the tips that I come out from this is that get a structure. and include, if you have a story of someone who is doing the stuff that you are writing about, then you can have the side story that goes along in all chapters. That can make people see how the progress is going. And the second thing was the worksheets, and that also were on the website. That has been a very good thing to have. And the third thing that I see that I did is that I used material that I already had and just refined it and put it together, and then I got a book of another kind. And this is what I was going to say, so now I can take the questions. If Tony can get back on track. Tony.
Annika, this is Inez, and I thank you so much for your presentation, and especially mentioning Create Space and how it's used and how valuable it is. So thank you.
Thank you. I am done, Tony. It was a bit shorter.
Annika, I'd love to congratulate you. It was very real, and I got a sense of the struggles and the excitement that you had when you were doing your publishing. I'm Susie, I should have introduced myself. But I really thank you for sharing that. Very insightful, and I've learned a lot.
Thank you. Yes, it was a struggle. It was not what they promised, if I say so.
It never is it?
No.
It doesn't do what it says on the tin.
That's okay.
And I had no idea, so I just jumped into it.
And sometimes that's the best way. Ignorance can be bliss.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So any questions or comments?
I think we've taken care of that, Tony. We were doing it.
Well, I'm sorry I was a little late. My computer was acting up, and I'm sorry. Jeez, get off my ass. Anyway.
Well, it's such a wonderful thing to have the excuse to tease you. I had to take it.
All right.
I'll go
Moving
behave
on.
myself now. Bye.
Yes, really, because you're up next.
Oh, no. Now it's my punishment.
So
That's your punishment.
so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop